And he says, we got to empty the clip for DK Metcalf. I ain't sell the house. Or he said, I ain't sell the house, but the living room is a little outdated. Respect, Moats. All right. Okay. So we there? It's time. All right. Let me go ahead and get us fired up real quick then. All right. Since this is the question we going with, this how we going to spark it off the day. Let me go ahead and get us going. All right. Here we go. Boom. All right. We're just going to pull them up free agency style, man, because clearly, yeah, we got action going on right now, man. And a lot of it as pertains to these wide receivers. But the one that my man Fellow Grown 420 wanted to first discuss was DK Metcalf. Obviously, for those that don't know, DK officially requested a trade from the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, has been rumored at times about potential departures. I know we talked about DK earlier this offseason in terms of, would we want to trade for this guy? Is that somebody that we should be intrigued about? But there was still some hesitancy just because we didn't know what Seattle was trying to get done. Were they trying to reload or were they going in a completely different direction? But as we've seen now in these past couple of days, they look like they're offloading assets. All right. So Tyler Lockett was the first guy that they released. We know Tyler Lockett. He's been out there forever, dominant player. He'll be one of those Seahawk Wall of Honor type of dudes, Ring of Honor type of guys. But ultimately, they moved on from him. Then from there, we hear about DK Metcalf officially requesting the trade. And on top of DK, then there are also rumors about Geno Smith also being on that trade market as well. So these were some of the dudes that, like I said, man, we have briefly talked about at times, and we were just waiting to get, real life action, real life confirmation one way or the other. So with Tyler Lockett, we do have that. But with DK Metcalf, that's the other element to this thing. Now, to me, man, DK Metcalf, y'all know exactly who the heck DK Metcalf is, man. He is as good as advertised. He is, franchise caliber wide receiver. He is the true definition of a wide receiver one. He also got a little bit of crash out in him. So I do like that. That's what the young kids call it when they got a little crazy on him. He got a little crazy on him. But I like that little crazy. You need a little crazy on you, all right? And he'll sign language you. So I like the fact that he's versatile in his trash talk. He's versatile in the way that he wants to let you know he balling on you, okay? But just for context, man, last year played in 15 games, 12 starts, 108 targets, had 66 catches, 992 yards with 5 tutties. Year prior to that, 16 games, 16 starts, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Year before that, 17 games, 17 start, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Year before that, 17 games, 17 starts, 967 yards, 12 touchdowns. Year before that, 1,300 touchdowns. That's obviously when he was playing with Russ, 1,300 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. This is what? 2021. So like literally the dude has been on a tear since coming into the NFL. We know this, the smallest amount of yardage he's ever had in a single season was 900 yards. And that was his rookie season when he first came into the NFL. Outside of that, he's 1,000-yard type receiver and he scores touchdowns. We know who DK Metcalf is. Big body, 6'4", 234, is as good as advertised. And yes, Cornell Banks, you caught me on the bend. I had to remember, I was like, oh, this is buttoned up a little bit. It's just a little bit. I thought I was talking with the gang. All right. Y'all know, we do this so often. It's been 667 episodes that, I just be getting real comfortable with y'all. So I got to be careful sometimes, man. I was in there, the bando, how we go, man. You know how it is around there. All right. So anywho, but let me get back to the homie DK Metcalf. So with him, though, man, the production has definitely been there. Bona fide wide receiver one, whenever he's been there. He's definitely the dude that makes defenses have to play certain coverages. If you do not have a safety over top, good luck, because DK takes tops off defenses routinely. He beats single coverage routinely, and he gonna make that safety really have to go to work even with the double team routinely. And that's why we like DK Metcalf. He can block. He competes even when it's a turnover. We know the big play for me that stood out was the interception was just 3-4 years ago, man. Buda Baker gets the pick on like the goal line. He's running it back, about to score. And you see DK high knees, high elbows, going down in, whoop, 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 and walk them down. I mean, to me, that's one of those plays where it just shows a guy's true, passion for the game. It's bigger than stats. It's bigger than compensation. And it's a dude that just wants to win. And to me, that was the impression that I've gotten from DK. And that's what I really enjoy about watching DK. And that's why you've heard me be a fan of him and say, yeah, if he's ever available, that's the type of guy you go get. Now, the interesting part is this. Dana Rossini, who obviously, big wig in terms of, NFL analyst type stuff like that. She's reporting that the Seahawks are requesting or looking for a first and a third round draft pick in terms of the compensation for DK Metcalf. Let me say that again. A first and a third are the draft picks that the Seattle Seahawks are looking to receive in order for, a trade for DK Metcalf. Now, we know a first and a third is already a lot, right? We would all agree with that. If you're talking about drafting a first round receiver, cool. Talking about drafting a third round receiver, okay, cool. A first and a third, and that's just one player. We got questions, right? Then we got to factor in the contract, okay? You're ready. So, he's in the middle of the 3-year, $72 million deal, which is averaging $24 million per season. Now, the reports are that he is going to want a new deal on top of the trade. So now we're talking a first round pick, a third round pick, along with a new contract. I don't know how y'all feeling about that. Okay. To me, that's a little bit rich. We're starting to get richer and richer and richer in terms of what it costs to acquire this guy. Now, what I will say is this: it's proven production. You're not going to, me personally, you can't talk me into one of these younger guys being more impactful year one in Pittsburgh versus DK Metcalf. That's just because I've already seen DK prove he can be a routine 1,000-yard receiver year after year after year while staying healthy, regardless of quarterback, regardless of head coach, regardless of counterparts as well. Whereas when we're talking about some of these younger guys, we're all projecting, we're all speculating, we're all hoping and wishing that this will work. And we, take different things to make the percentages higher. Hence the reason why we will draft a guy in the first round versus the third, etc. But there is still a big question mark because we haven't seen that player at this level just yet. Whereas with DK, we have. So that's the part for me where, yes, I get the higher premium because he is a proven commodity. But to me, I don't like 2 draft picks plus new contract for DK Metcalf. I like one or the other. I don't mind a draft pick with new contract, but I don't want to do 2 picks and new contract. I would much rather throw in a player and a pick and we make a move like that. But that's just how I look at it right now, man, because to me, man, the first and the third, those are 2 quality players. Those are 2 dudes. I mean, one dude's a guaranteed starter in my mind of how I look at it. And then that third round pick is heavy in the rotation in year one. It's how I think of, those 2 type of picks. So for me to switch and say that one player is worth those 2, that player has to be bona fide, which I think DK is to an extent. But now when you start adding in the fact that I got to get ready to pay him upwards of 30, 32, in that range, or maybe it's, no, I don't think he gonna want 29 because let's see, Devontae Adams is coming off of $28 million a year. We seen what these new deals are going to balloon up to. Yeah, DK is gonna want in them 30s. So that's the other part. So now I'm cutting into my big bag of 60 plus, along with now he has to be the force multiplier for not just 2 draft picks, but also how many players could I essentially sign with that $30 million per year price tag as well. So now you're getting a hold of how many players we're talking about this one guy accounting for, along with me having to give up trade compensation to go get him as well. So with all of that factored in, it does make me a lot more hesitant as I think about him, but I do think he's worth the phone call. And if I'm Omar Khan, I'm just trying to, first off, okay, you want the first and the third. All right, well, I know that that's your starting point. Let's start talking. Where can we work off of that though? Right? How do I get off of that third? Maybe that third becomes a 4th or a 5th. Does a 1st and a 5th change your idea? Maybe. Does a 1st and a 4th? What if it's a conditional 5th? Like I'm thinking of all of these different concepts with it, man, different ways to play around with it, right? Because you got to get that man a new contract. That's a lot. That's a lot, man.